I wanted to love the ÖBB Nightjet. It's supposed to be the future of European travel. But then they kicked me out in the middle of the night. Join me in this private room on a premium overnight sleeper train today on Markus Travels. The planned route was from Basel, Switzerland to Amsterdam Centraal in the Netherlands. Welcome to the Basel SBB train station. It's almost 11 o'clock. We're about 30 minutes away from the departure on the Nightjet over to Amsterdam Centraal. Now let's go and find that train. I booked the highest class available on this train, which is a single sleeper cabin. You can also get the sleeper cabin for 2 or 3 people. Physically, it's the same type of room. The classes below are couchettes for up to 6 people, and the Nightjet also has cars with normal seating. I paid for this trip myself, and I filmed without ÖBB's knowledge or permission. That way you get an authentic, non-sponsored review. ÖBB is the state railway operator of Austria. The price for this ticket was 247 Swiss francs. That's just under $275 US. For this one-way overnight train ride, it would have been cheaper to fly. There's no access to a lounge here at Basel SBB because the station doesn't have one. But if I would have taken this train from Vienna, for example, I would have been able to use the ÖBB lounge. In this car, I have bed number 41 in cabin number 7. It's the only bed in use in this room. We'll do a more complete tour once we're underway. Welcome aboard the ÖBB Nightjet that's going to take us over to Amsterdam tonight. The journey is going to last approximately 10 hours. The departure is here at 23:13 from Basel SBB and the arrival in Amsterdam at 09:13 tomorrow morning. And I already locked myself out on my way to the bathroom. I'm happy that the staff member who was waiting on the platform was able to unlock my door. Let's figure out how this locking system actually works. Here's one thing you have to be aware of. The doors lock automatically behind you when you exit. And that means that when you leave the room, you have to leave the door open. You do this by extending this latch so that the door can't close. This is obviously not the best solution from a security perspective. When you are in the room, however, this latch does allow you to lock the door from inside. And the police just walked by. They said Bundespolizei. Not sure if that was Swiss or German or French or Austrian or whatever it was. But they were nice. One of the first things that I notice as I enter the room is the breakfast menu on the table. But all the hot drinks are crossed out because apparently their coffee machine was not working. So no hot drinks for me, but I actually won't be seeing any of the breakfast items on this trip due to what is about to happen in about 5 hours' time. But in principle, you would be able to select 6 items from the breakfast menu, and this is included in your ticket price. We also have the Nightjet amenity kits in these paper bags. I got 3 bags as there are 3 beds in the room. Inside we find slippers, a bottle of water, an eye mask, some earplugs, a towel, and some snacks that I clearly forgot to film. As I enter the room, on my left there is a closet with space for my coat and my Osprey backpack. I also put my shoes down here on the shelves. On this side there is a ladder for accessing the top bunks. Above the closet we find one of the light switches of the room as well as a temperature control. Next we have the vanity with some kind of unidentified shelf below. Inside we have a mirror, some cup holders, a sink with soap, as well as some shelf space. There are plenty more lights in this room. Each bed has its own reading light. And then there are 3 more light switches by the window. These control the 3 overhead lights. And then we have the big light switch above the locker. There is a single European-style power outlet down here by the seat. This is an incredibly uncomfortable placement. And you only get one in the whole room. The chair, however, was pretty comfortable. We are now well on our way to Amsterdam on the ÖBB Nightjet. What are some first impressions? Well, one is that it's a very smooth, comfortable and quiet ride once I close the window here on my left-hand side. A second impression is that this is clearly an older product. This is not the ÖBB flagship product that they often advertise. This is something that has been around for years, probably even decades. But that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. I'm looking forward to a very comfortable ride up to Amsterdam. Another impression is that I'm pretty happy that I have the whole compartment to myself. If we were 2 people in here, this would be really cramped. As far as I can tell, there's only 1 seat, but there are 2 beds. That would be really cozy with 2 people in this compartment. Looks like I was wrong about the seats. There is indeed 1 seat in the kind of seat configuration, but I do see 2 seats under the bottom bed. And there are 3 beds in total. There's the one that is made up for me, then there's one that is in the vertical position right there in front of me, and then up there seems to be a 3rd bed as well. I think that's why we also have a ladder in there, so that you can climb up to the permanently mounted bed up there. So let me correct the statement and say that I'm very happy that I have this compartment to myself, because with 3 people it would be incredibly cramped. The window to the room opens and closes with a latch on the left-hand side here. But you really cannot operate it with one hand while holding a camera in the other. There are 3 beds in this room. One is at the top, near the ceiling. The second one is placed vertically against the wall. And then we have 1 bed open and prepared. This is going to be my bed for tonight. The pillows included are tiny, so I ended up grabbing one of the extra pillows from the top bed. In terms of entertainment, there is nothing, not even Wi-Fi. This room does not come with its own private lavatory. Rather, there are 2 lavatories at the end of the car. This lav is certainly showing its age. It's tiny and cramped, and it feels smaller than what you would get on an airplane. But all the basic necessities are there. There's a button here that kind of looks like a light switch, but it seemed to activate some kind of alarm instead. I never found out what that button was for. On some Nightjet services there's also a shower, but I think this is not one of those trains because this is an older model. But the real proof is going to be in the sleeping comfort. It's already around midnight, so I think this is an excellent time to head for bed and see how well we can sleep on board the ÖBB Nightjet. So let me grab a final bathroom break, this time without locking myself out, and then head to bed. Now we come to the highlight of a sleeper cabin like this, namely the bed. It is pretty comfortable to sleep in, but I was able to clearly feel the motion of the train, and it was somewhat bumpy. And as I quieted down to sleep, the noise from the outside became more apparent. I almost never wear earplugs, but on this trip I did consider using the ones from the amenity kit. After a few attempts, I managed to fall asleep until it's 5:09. We're at Frankfurt. We have just been told that we need to get out of the train and switch over to the ICE, which was going to take us over to Amsterdam instead. So that's the end of this ÖBB Nightjet experience right there. Let's jump over. For some unexplained reason, our train cannot continue past Frankfurt main station. Okay, we're back on the ICE. At least I hope this time I won't have to stand like on the last ICE trip. Let's go and find the first class compartment. I think it's on that end of the train. By the way, if you're wondering about this reference to the ICE train, I will link to that video at the end of this one. It's 5:28 a.m. and I have just made myself comfortable here in the first class seat on the ICE. This train is going to take us over to Amsterdam. We had to leave the Nightjet behind here in Frankfurt, and needless to say I'm not having a great experience today on the ÖBB/ICE service. So now we're in this interesting situation where the ÖBB Nightjet crew, they took all of our tickets that they were going to give us back when we arrived in Amsterdam. Now because that train got cancelled, none of us actually have our tickets handy. So that means a lot of awkward conversations with the ICE crew, who of course had nothing to do with this particular delay. I, for example, do have the printed reservation confirmation and I have the printed Halbtags certificate, but not the actual ticket because that was left on the ÖBB train. On the one hand, it's nice that they sorted out a solution for us to be able to continue the train trip to Amsterdam. But on the other hand, this isn't the same level of comfort that I paid for. This is a major downgrade in service. Looks like we're not getting the breakfast that was supposed to be included in the Nightjet fare, so instead I went ahead and got myself a little breakfast bag from the bistro here on the ICE. We have already crossed into the Netherlands. The first stop on the Dutch side is going to be Arnhem in a couple of minutes. The ICE is comfortable enough and it's been a nice smooth ride, but I haven't really been able to sleep because this seat is just a normal seat. It isn't the bed that I was expecting on the Nightjet. Plus they keep the lights on here throughout the night. So not a great experience so far. We will arrive at Amsterdam Centraal in about 10 minutes. I just want this trip to be over already. Though I must say that the ICE today has delivered a very smooth, very pleasant train experience. With the Intercity Express, we end up arriving in Amsterdam within just a few minutes of the original ÖBB Nightjet arrival time. Welcome to Amsterdam Central train station, Amsterdam Centraal. But at this time I was exhausted and I just wanted to get to my hotel. And here I want to shout out the Mercure Amsterdam City Hotel. They allowed me to early check in already before 11 a.m. and that really helped my mood for the rest of the day. Well done, Mercure Amsterdam City. But there are a couple of new problems that emerge. To exit the train station Amsterdam Centraal, you have to go through these ticket gates. And for this, you need to scan your arriving ticket. But like everybody else on the ÖBB Nightjet, the staff took our tickets and they were going to give them back when we arrive in Amsterdam. Luckily, the friendly NS staff at the gates allowed me to exit without any problems. But here's another problem that emerged only afterwards. I went down to the SBB customer service point in Basel. SBB, the Swiss Railways, were the ones who sold me this ÖBB Nightjet ticket. And I wanted to request the compensation for services not rendered. And the very friendly SBB staff member asks me, "Do you have any documentation showing that you were kicked out at Frankfurt?" And I did not. And of course, waking up in the middle of the night trying to get to another train, that was not the first thing that I had on my mind. And in the SBB system, they also cannot see data about this cancelled connection because it took place in Germany. So that's a good note to self. In case of travel disruptions in the future, make sure to get some kind of documentation at the time. I'll give you my recommendation in just a moment. If you got value from this video, you can buy me a coffee with the link in the description or a super thanks right here on YouTube. Thank you very much for supporting this channel, Markus Travels. The ÖBB Nightjet is a comfortable product, though the version that I had is an old design. I don't know how common these disruptions are, but the staff member at the SBB service point in Basel, he did mention that they actually do have a lot of problems like this. Ultimately, I'll be happy to try the ÖBB Nightjet again, maybe one of their newer products, because I do like sleeper trains as a concept. To learn more about the German ICE trains, click or tap the screen right here. On this trip, the ICE train saved the day, but I've had very mixed experiences in the past. So check out that video. Thank you very much for watching Markus Travels, and I will see you in the next one.